Mary and Joseph bring Jesus to the temple, this presentation at the temple, very much in line with ancient Jewish customs, in many ways dating back to Abraham's sacrifice of Isaac on the mountain. They date back to the plagues and the destruction of all the firstborn of Egypt. A recognition that a firstborn son belongs to God, and they go to the temple to give their son back to God. This maybe invites us to think more deeply about sacrifice. In this occasion, on this trip to the temple, the sacrifice will be a few turtle doves, not something very appealing or spiritual in our eyes, I think. Maybe if he had been richer, it would have been a sheep or a head of cattle. These also seem a little strange to us, I believe, as a spiritual practice. But there is something deeply spiritual in the idea of sacrifice, something very deeply spiritual that we find maybe first in the story of Isaac carrying the burden, the load of wood up the hill on his back, on which he would lose his life and be offered up to God. In the story of Isaac, that Abraham had always longed for a son. He desired a son. He wanted a son. He receives the son. And now he gives him back to God, only to receive him back again, truly as gift. The story of Abraham and Sarah's conception of Isaac is a complex story, and it's a story of God's gracious gift, but also a story of doubt and a story of selfishness and a story of power. But now on the mountain of sacrifice, there's gift. That in sacrificing his son, Abraham recognizes that this is God's, not his. But that in that sacrifice, he receives as pure gift his son back as the angel stays his hand and says, God doesn't want you to kill your son. God wants you to have your son. And they go down the mountain, and he has his son more rich, more deep than ever in this gift from God. And this is true then of all the temple's sacrifice. This is true of sacrifice in our lives, when we give of ourselves, when we give of our time, when we give of our career for our children. But that gift is not stolen from us. It's returned to us. For parents, maybe the most difficult thing is seeing their children grow and become independent and leave home. And that sacrifice of allowing our children to become adults, we would think we've lost everything, all of our work and our care and our love and our energy. But when we give that gift, it's returned to us in newer and richer ways. This, Father Ron Rolheiser would call the anatomy of a sacrifice. And as Jesus is brought to the temple today and given back to God, he's received again as gift, as light to the nations, as salvation, as love. And the difference between what we can get and hold on to, which is so often selfish and small, the difference between that and what we give, what we're given, is love. How often when somebody reaches out and gives you a gift, I find myself doing this all the time. I'm like, no, I can't take that. No, you keep it. No. And on our best days, that's not just a half-hearted protest. It's sincere. Like, I don't want to take this thing from you. But when the gift is pushed, when it's insisted upon, then you know it's gift. That they didn't say, you can have this because we think we have to let you have it. but because they really wanted to give it to you. And you can receive it as gift in love. Like, this is the anatomy of a sacrifice. This is the underlying story of Jesus' presentation in the temple. He's given to us already, but now we acknowledge that he's not ours, he's God's, and bring him back to the temple to give him to God. And there we receive him again as a gift. May the exchanges of our lives, rather than double theft, rather than ownership and earning and gaining and demanding, may the exchanges of our lives be double gifts, right? When we try to give back and receive again, when our sacrifices are repaid with even greater love and an even deeper having of the things that we, in love and generosity, are willing to give up.